Alrighty, boys and girls, it's time for another math lesson. This is Chapter 6, Section 2, Multiplication and Division Equations. Alright, so first thing we have for this lesson is some vocabulary, words and phrases we have to get out of the way. So the first one that we're going to go over is coefficient. So coefficient, spelled C-O-E-F-F-I-C-I-E-N-T, is the numerical part of an expression. Think of it as the number with the letter when you have an expression. So, for example, the 3 in the expression 3x. 3 is the coefficient, x is the variable in that expression. Okay, so the next phrase that we have to talk about is found on page 448 in your books, division property of equality. And the division property of equality, it's very similar to the other properties of equality that we already went over last lesson. Remember, division property of subtraction stated that if you subtract the same amount from both sides of an equation, both sides remain equal. Addition property of equality stated that if you added the same amount to both sides of an equation, then both sides remained equal. And the division property of equality states the two sides of the equation remain equal when you divide by the same number, the same non-zero number. Now, the next one that we have to go over is the multiplication property of equality. And you can probably guess this, the multiplication property of equality states two sides of the equation stay equal if you multiply each side by the same number. Okay, so let's go ahead and figure out how we're going to work with the two types, multiplication and division equations. The first type we're going to talk about is the kind that you solve with division. So let's take a look at an example problem. Suppose we had the equation 20 equals 4x. Now in this equation, 20 is on one side, and on the other side we have 4 multiplied by x. Remember, anytime a number touches a letter, it's multiplication. In this case, 4 is the coefficient of the variable x. And remember, the coefficient is actually multiplied by the variable. Now, we're going to solve this using opposites. And remember, the opposite of multiplication is division. So, what we're going to do is we are actually going to divide both sides by the coefficient. And it's going to look like this. So here's the equation written again. The coefficient is 4. Remember that a fraction bar means division, and I'm going to divide by 4. Remember, if I do something to one side, I have to do it to the other. This would be the division property of equality. On the right-hand side, times 4 and divided by 4 cancel. X is all that remains on the right. On the left-hand side, positive 20 divided by positive 4 is going to give positive 5. Now, if I want to check this problem, I can by rewriting the original equation and substituting my solution, remember that vocabulary word from last lesson, my answer, solution, in for the variable. There's the original equation. There it is with our new solution, substituted in for the variable x. And since 4 times 5 equals 20, we get the same number on both sides. It checks. Now, let's take a look at another example. This time, our coefficient is negative 8. So, the opposite of multiplying by negative 8 is dividing by negative 8. Remember, we show division with a fraction bar. On the left, the coefficient negative 8 divided by negative 8, they're opposite, so they cancel, leaving y. On the right, 24 divided by negative 8, since the signs are opposite, the answer is going to be negative. And 24 divided by 8 is 3. So our answer, our solution, is y equals negative 3. The second type is the type that we solve with multiplication. So let's take a look at an example problem. In this example, we have a divided by negative 4 equals negative 9. Now here, the variable is being divided by negative 4, and remember, the opposite of division is multiplication. So, what we're going to do to solve this is multiply both sides by negative 4, what the variable is being divided by. So it's just a matter of writing in times -4 on both sides, like so. And on the left-hand side, you can see times -4 divided by -4 are opposites, so they cancel out. And that leaves us with A on the left-hand side, isolated, just like we want. On the right-hand side, we have -9 times -4. Since the signs are same, the answer is positive, and 9 times 4 is 36. And that's it for this lesson, multiplication and division equations. If you need to see more practice problems,